TikTok as well. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yo, we're doing it. Okay, we're live over there. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Instagram now. We're live on TikTok. Let's go, everybody. Hey, everybody. That's the worst voice. I'm so sorry. Okay. So today, what are we going to be talking about? Some other things, but first, I'm going to let everybody kind of come in. What's up? Okay, today's show is going to be really awesome. I'm going to be talking about. We're going to be doing some design trend chats around maximalism. All right, we're going to talk about that in just a second. I'm going to get oiled up. That's right. I'm among us crushing it over on Instagram. Yep. Hey. Okay, yeah. So we're just going to be chilling for just another second. I'm just going to take a little sip of my coffee, and then we'll be going. How are you guys doing? Last night I did not sleep, so. Well, I slept okay. I slept for like 4 hours, but I was up really late. Next week I'm gonna be traveling, so I'm kind of like cramming a bunch of stuff, too much stuff right now, and yeah, we'll be. But I'm coming in with some energy today because it's gonna be a fun show. Honestly, I'm like having so much fun doing this, and yeah, I just feel like the world is just getting started for me, and I hope it is for you. I believe that it is for you because the world is yours. You can't really see it in the shot because it was messing up my damn exposure yesterday, but it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Can you show how to create buttons over on Instagram? Hey, I'm gonna do a live. Basically, let's talk about the show notes today. So today I'm gonna be talking about maximalism, but I'm also gonna be doing a chat about some smart animate, a live design tutorial. But yo, listen, if you're still in here, Paula V, whatever. If you're still in here when I get there, maybe we don't do a smart animate tutorial. Maybe I do a button tutorial. So I don't know. We'll sound off. We'll sound off when we get there. Trying to keep it vibing today. But yeah. I think that there's nothing else to do but to get going. So, but first, I just want to say your mom's right. Not crushing it. Classic TikTok name right there. But thank you so much for following me. If you're not following me already, I'm Nolan. I go by Rad Nolan, and I talk about design and startups and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm just I'm just here to have fun, and I hope you all are having fun. And let's dig into the first step of the day. We're gonna be talking about news today, design news. So let's just jump into it. So basically, I found this, I was watching TikTok this morning, and this TikTok came up about surreal branding. If you go check her out. It's Needy. Go check her out. Don't want to like copy her content or whatever, but it was like it kind of brought up this idea of like maximalism in the world. Basically, she talked about this design that this brand called Surreal made,
Surreal.
where basically like this is literally a billboard, right? Let me zoom in to just for proper effect. How do I zoom in? It's not zooming in. What's happening? Whatever. Okay, it's like we're not zooming in. But there's basically like a whole bunch of just billboards of literal like just shitty design, or quote unquote shitty design, and it kind of brings up this point of this idea of like maximalism in design, right? And by the way, what platform am I streaming from? I'm streaming from TikTok and from Streamlabs. TikTok, it doesn't let me connect to Streamlabs, so I'm streaming directly to TikTok on TikTok Studio, and then over on Instagram and YouTube, I'm streaming through Streamlabs. But all right, sorry to get derailed there, but what I want to talk about is maximalism, right? It's this like design trend. A lot of people are calling it like Gen Z design, but I think that like literal like huge brands are doing it. I mean, you could argue that this is maximalism, and like literally inside of the design tool that most people use. It is like you can definitely argue that this is maximalism. Honestly, Figma branding in general is pretty maximal, and I think that like I think it kind of shows this idea of how can we there's some nostalgia mixed in with maximalism, right? Like these are kind of like just a roundup of all like 90s websites, obviously. But for me, like I think that I think that this design trend is less of like a trend and more of like a movement towards like all you basically tech came around back when I was getting into high school or college back in like the 208 ish to 2010s was really where a lot of like the tech companies really started to formulate like design principles, right? And especially around Apple and all of that. But basically, all of them kind of ended up looking the same, right? And we as product designers are still designing stuff that's following like specific guidelines around like specific minimalism and all of that stuff. And I'm not here to say that that's wrong, right? Honestly, that's how I design in a lot of ways because I think good design is design that you don't think about much, right? However, I do think that there's room for it if the brand calls for it, and so yeah, I just wanted to talk about like more brands are stepping into this world, and so like I think that it's a little bit of a good tip in the cap, specifically around your portfolio, right? How can you make your portfolio stand out? Like I think you've got room to do shit like this nowadays, right? Like it's going to make it where because look, I'm bringing up portfolios because I do a live portfolio review every time I'm on this show. We're going to be doing one in just a few minutes for David Rivas. If you're here, he's been hanging on every live. But anyways, the do it like I think that portfolios is one of those spots where you've got to like be kind of like funky as hell if you can, because it's another one of those things that'll help you stand out. And so all that to say, how can we like go about making like some systems around or a process around our like design that is quote unquote crazy as hell, or quote unquote old as hell, or and so I think that's just something I want to call out, right? That's kind of how I'm trying to get warmed up in here, is to do some design news, design trends, and all that. And so maximalism is definitely one. And one site that I really like for it, hold on. One site that I really like to look for, just vibes in general, but specifically around web design, there is a lot of stuff in siteinspire.com. That's siteinspire.com. It's an awesome inspiration source. Like, look at this thing. This is very undesigned, right? But it's probably fucking cool. Let's go watch it. I mean, look at that. That's just cool. Ooh, yo, bringing the vibes, foam.org. Like, okay, I'm scrolling back the other way. Sheesh, look at this thing. The hell? Yeah. Okay, so, first off, I just want to say it's going to be really hard to do it this well. This is really fucking good. So just gotta give foam.org some love right there, because that's super impressive stuff. But I think that like this design trend, you could feel it in there, and it still feels super handcrafted and super purposeful about the design. And so I think we can easily like look at this and say this is shit, right? But like, how can we take like some of those like nostalgia vibes, kind of like remove some of the guardrails of everything has to look minimal and clean, and just go crazy. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got for that. This was a slam dunk right here with foam.org. So anyway, Site Inspire is that website. So hold on, sorry. Where does solar punk fit in? I've heard of that trend, and I've kind of tried to look around. I'm kind of like, I don't really get it. So let me go do some more research on that and get you some more insights on that, Kara. Because we're doing this every day, so I'll be back soon to talk more design trends. But also somebody asked about portfolio review. Go ahead and check my bio link. Here, I'll pull it up. Dude, what the heck? Gosh. My hotkeys are all jammed up because of my streaming that I'm doing. Okay. So yeah, right here is where you can find the portfolio reviews button. So in my bio link, on mobile, it's going to be like a little scrolly guy, and it's on the end. Portfolio reviews or get a live portfolio review. When you go to my bio link, it will basically take you to this. It's just a form where I ask you a portfolio URL, and that's it. But yeah, so I'll be checking. I'll be doing a dive on a portfolio review in just a few minutes. But first, anybody got any questions that they want to chat about for a minute? If not, I'll be jumping right in to a live Figma tutorial around Smart Animate. What was it? Palava? Who is the one who was asking about buttons earlier? You still here? If you are, we can go do a button tutorial. Otherwise, we're gonna be doing Smart Animate. Okay, we're getting some questions now on TikTok. Sweet, 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 sweet. All right, let's do it. Let's switch over the title to AMA, chillin', AMA. Okay, sorry. Sometimes it's just like you gotta be like, I'm doing it. I'm over here switching title cards proactively, right? Okay, I'm over it. I'll get off my high horse. I'm gonna flip over to the me cam. Um, Hiding things. You're seeing some sausages getting made, guys. This live is really cool. How is it on live? I'm streaming from TikTok Studio and from Streamlabs, and both of them basically I made this little layout, this cutout that sits on top of my head and also on top of my screen. So there's that, and then I just made these little title cards that sit on top of everything. So that's it. But okay, so chatting about over on TikTok, Praj, you can do a program vertical scroll for the phone, can't you? Yes, you can. I did not do that though on that one design on my website. I was kind of lazy and just made it where the side scrolls if you want to on mobile. But all right, so Asa asked if UX is a career that's growing. For me, like every career has its ups and downs, and every especially in the age of AI, things are going to be changing in the future for all of us, for every career and every skill set and all of that. And so I will say, for me, I think that whoever's going to come out on top and whoever's going to be like continuing to grow in their career is the same that it's always been, in that in a skill-based career where there is a lot of subjectivity, and it's up to you to just hustle and grind, build your skills, and you'll find your spot. Like it's one of those, like, I know it's not like a fun way to say everything's gonna be okay if you just do a lot of hard work, but I think that's the reality of any career, right? Now, I will say UX specifically, I would say try to go towards product design, because I think more and more the generalist roles are going to be the things that are rising and growing in their responsibilities, right? Like generalist roles in design is basically product designer, right? Because they're doing UI UX, they're doing user research, they're doing data analysis, they're doing the actual UI, they're doing design system work. Like every step of the product of design is done in product design. Now, like, I think it was designer Tom. He had some like really good content around like when did the product design role like become even a title versus UX design or UI design or designer, right? And so like some companies will still call a product designer a UX designer, right? But I will say though, like if you really angle too much in the UX world and not enough in like that cross-functional collaboration vibes, the actual like I can still make banging UI, maybe even branding as well. Like again, like all of those things, all those disciplines are not like needed, right? But all of those things educate your process. And I think that that's why a generalist skill set is going to be more and more valued as we go, especially in the age of AI, where like more people or less people are doing more, and like I think that being able to pull together those disciplines come from the ability to have done those disciplines and then using that and leveraging that into like turning AI on and running it so that it's actually like part of like an arm of the business. That's really what I think, like how this is all going to work, right? AI is going to have an effect. It's not going to kill any career. Sorry. or any like industry around the stuff that I'm talking about, design and development and all that, because there still needs to be an interface of somebody at the top's like, yo, we need to make this money and this is how we're going to do it. How do we do it? And then, product designers are going to rise up, take over product managers. Product managers are all gonna go out of business. No, just kidding. It's funny. Like there was a moment in config last year where it was the dude who founded Airbnb. He was talking about how they don't have product managers, they have product marketers, and it's more like looked at as almost like a design thinking role. And like the whole crowd went wild because like all of us are all people in product teams are begrudgingly working with their product managers. I mean, okay. Again, paint with a big brush. Definitely, there's smart ass product managers, right? Like I'm not trying to like talk shit about product managers, but I do think that product like designers, when you're thinking about the product from a design perspective, rather than just like the way that from a project management perspective, I think that there's some magic there, and I think that there's room for the product design role to grow into and beyond product managers and all that. So. Whew, that was a pretty good rant. How would you guys rank that rant? Give me a rating between 1 and 3. All right. Blow up those comments. Get a bunch of people in here. Yeah. What's the difference between UI and UX? I'm always confused by the term. Hell yeah, Jamie. Really good question. So UI is what you see, and UX is why you see it. Now that was like really general, but essentially. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, I don't think you can have one without the other, right? Really bad looking like design that just looks like shit and is not purposeful on the actual like layouts and end result. It affects the UX. It affects the user experience, right? And also too, like a bad UX that is like really beautifully designed doesn't really matter, right? Like it's not going to be sticky and all that. And the reason for that is basically. The work that we're doing, we're not artists here, right? We are doing a business function, right? Business wants to make money and they've got these initiatives. We're going to design them to the best of our ability, right? And in that, there is an inherent like connection to conversions, keeping users on, making those people buy something or watch a bunch of ads or something like that. And so really like that's where the UX about it comes is you can make something beautiful, but if it's not serving those business goals in a strategic way, then it's not going to do like you're going to lose your job. The company's going to go out of business. And in the same way, the actual like UI that like is in resulting needs to be strategic in order to like basically turn that like thought process of these users are going to buy for these reasons. And then that needs to translate into actual UI in a strategic way, right? And so all of that can be covered in my UI course, which is 25% off. So there we go. First one of the day talking about my courses. I'm going to just leave it there. But basically, I talk about like really the big thing, in my opinion, the biggest thing you need to learn as an early designer is information architecture, being strategic about that information architecture. And I think that is like the perfect bridge between UI and UX. It's you can't have one without the other, and they both build on each other if you're being very strategic about your information architecture approach. Whoa, yo, I'm on something today. Yeah. Okay. I've been going hard for a few minutes. How long have I been on live? Where we at? I've got a timer. Okay, 20 minutes. Yeah, we're on pace. We're on pace here. Let's answer a few more questions. Let's go. Why is it so hard to get a UI UX job? Do you think UX UI is oversupply these days? Now look, it's always been hard, right? I started my career back in 2010. Late 2010. So we'll call it 13 years. It's over 13 years. It took me a while to get into the industry. It took I was finding clients, but I wasn't making a living off of that, right? I was hustling, grinding. I was making my own startups, and like that was ultimately how I broke into the industry, right? And that was like 10 years ago before I got my first job, right? And so it's always been difficult. It's always because the work-life balance is awesome. The money you can make is awesome. All of this is like the dream of a career, like if you're a creative problem solver, right? And so I think that because of that, it's going to naturally be oversaturated. Now, another side of it too, and I might be hurting my future brand deal opportunities, but it's something that I feel very, very strongly about, is unless you're doing a boot camp with a really, really intentional person or people, right? Like, I think a lot of boot camps is what oversaturated the market, right? They basically promise, hey, pay us 10 grand and we'll give you these skills in 3 months and you'll be ready to go, and our whole network of people will get you a job and blah blah blah. Like, I don't think that's really like the case, right? Essentially what I think boot camps are doing in a bit is basically saying, like, we know exactly what you need to learn, and so go, like, so you don't need to stress about it, right? And so there's some magic to that, right? And again, I'm not talking shit about all boot camps. I think there's one by a big creator who I'm not going to name, who's like, and they seem really, really solid, really, really solid. So like, I'm painting with a big brush, but I do think that boot camps are the real thing that has affected the saturation of the market, because ultimately what it's doing is it's making a lot of people who are not ready think that they're ready, and that's backlogging the portfolios that everybody has to review. Therefore, people are getting filtered out, in a bad way. They're like, and good people are missing roles because of it, and so. And so, like, honestly, this is my next resource. I don't really know how I'm going to tackle it, but my big thing that I want to nail is how do I help people know if they're ready or not? And if they're not, how do they know what to do, right? And I think that's really the beauty of what a boot camp thing it does, is that cohort allows you to have that one-on-one touch. Now, I've heard some bad things about some of those boot camps, some of the bigger ones that have like multiple chains and locations and stuff like that. And I think it's because like that shit is just churning people out. They're not actually really intentional about it. And I'll name it. From what I see from Xander and Memorizely, I think that shit is really good. Like, from my perspective, I actually, what my designer who's working with me now went through Xander's boot camp. So again, not trying to talk shit about all boot camps, but I think that a lot of them are basically just there to pump people out, and they don't give the hands-on care that they're really charging for, right? And so yeah, okay, all right, that was good. That's really good, rant. Sorry, yo, I'm on my high horse today. I hope you guys are vibing. But okay, now let me give you a little bit of intentional, something to do with all that information, right? Because I basically just like said, wow, the world is hard, work harder. But in my opinion, I think the way to get a job is to find a job that doesn't exist. Now, what the fuck does that mean? It sounds like some stupid like Mr. Miyagi shit. But what I'm saying is that my first job came because I found an internship. They weren't offering an internship. I just went and found all the cool agencies in my area, and I hit all of them up personally. I didn't like go apply or whatever. I was like really intentional about like connecting with the right person at that agency. And the one that I found was a small shop that had like 3 people. And so they were like, yeah, sure, we're taking on some more projects, come on. And then I crushed it. I got a job, and then like agencies, as they are, was feast and famine and was getting stressful. So I quit and went on my own. And that was how I really broke into the world of design. And so I think that's my big suggestion to you is like, getting on a product team on like an online form where you like send your resume. That's going to be really hard to break into, right? But finding like a local agency that has some craft and will allow you to build the cross-functional collaboration skills that you really need to get in on a product team. So there we go. Okay. Button that up. I buttoned that up right away. Sorry, everybody. I'm feeling myself today. I'm feeling it. We're switching over. Let's go talk about a tutorial, shall we? Boom. Turning off the AMA card. Bye-bye, AMA. Hello, live Figma tutorial. How we doing, guys? You breathing? You breathing, chat? We breathing? Yeah. Let's go. Okay. By the way, I'm using the pencil mouse cursor right now. I think I might change that up. I think I'll go paper airplane. For whatever reason, Y2K has been speaking to me a lot. It's like basically this bottom row is me. I think that's because I was like a kid when Y2K was coming out. That was like when I first started using computers. But yeah, just vibing with it. Okay, so we're gonna talk about smart anime, and so actually, this is actually how I make all of my content. And so yeah, I probably should have prepared something a little bit for this. Let me just like prepare something for this a little bit. Give me a second, everybody. Give me a second. Here, I'll just show. I'll just walk through. All right, yeah. So we're gonna shit. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Let me get my Figma Creator Micro going. All right. So, basically, first step, I'm gonna get the layers panel involved. Hold on. Here we go. There we go. Okay. So first step in making, so basically what we are going to do is I'm going to show you how to make something like this. Right? Look at that. That's beautiful. That's sweet. I mean, okay. Again, I'm feeling myself today, so I apologize if I'm coming off like an asshole. But I just think this is like really cool, and I think nobody really talks about this much. And actually, yeah, I'm in a little creator group led by designer Tom, who's just the nicest person out there. So I just want to give some props to my man designer Tom. But basically, I was talking in that group about how I like use Smart Animate to make my content, and yeah, like some people were like, "Yo, what? That's cool." Okay. So, anyways, let's go show you how to do this. All right. All right. So first off, what you need is you need to have a frame that is 1080 by 1920, right? Because you are going to screen record this later, right? We're gonna set up a background color. I've actually kind of switched my brand colors since this. I'll just go with the old brand colors. There you go. That looks better. Okay. So I'm gonna take this. We've got this little tile right here, right? Now, let's say that I don't know, developer, whatever. What should a developer be? No, a developer should definitely have the nerd glasses. Maybe artist. I don't know. Painter, I think. Isn't there an artist? Yeah, there it is. Cool. Okay. So we got designer, we got a developer. Developer should definitely be green. So let's go green. Look at that. For me, my favorite color is purple, so we're going to keep it in the purple family. What's your favorite color, everybody? Okay. So I'm going to press the K key. I'm going to size these down just a little bit, just so that they fit in the frame. Now I've actually got this this component that I use. Where is it? Is it in this file? I think I might have moved it. Hold the phone. Got it somewheres. Yes, there it is. Okay. So there's this little frame. Basically, this helps me know where to place stuff. So, basically inside of TikTok and Instagram, your phone is not perfectly 1920 by 1080. So what they do is they actually scale it beyond the screen, which actually cuts the right and left edges by just a slight hair. Additionally, on TikTok and Instagram, there is like these search bars are pretty much filled up here. Obviously, you've got the whole like, comment, share, whatever right here. And then we've got the caption down here. So basically, I use this as a guide to make sure that I'm not breaking out of all of this stuff. What days do I usually go live? I'm trying to go live every single day. Now, next week, I am traveling to New York. And so I will not be live Wednesday through Friday. But yeah, basically, Monday and Tuesday I will be, and then the week after and forever until I die. No, I'm just kidding. But for indefinite future, it's gonna be Monday through Friday around this time. I don't know. I'm still trying to find the right time for my schedule and for like the vibes. But I will tell you, we got 37 in TikTok, 37 in Instagram. That's pretty solid. That's a solid amount of people. Yesterday it was a little bit bigger on Instagram, a little less on Tik, so pretty nice to see we're over here. Can you invite me to coffee in Brooklyn? Yo, maybe. I'm gonna be like in the proper city. I've actually never been to New York before, but I'm gonna be with my kids and my wife. So I don't know, maybe maybe I should go live in out there in like Central Park or something. We're gonna be pretty close to Central Park. Okay, so we've got a designer and we've got a developer. We've got it framed properly so that way it will not be messing with us at all. So that's cool. So what we're gonna do is we're going to duplicate this. We're gonna slide it out, right? So let's just say that we start with the designer and the developer is going to slide in, right? So we're going to first drop that down. We're gonna press the K key and that's gonna allow us to scale properly. And then I'm gonna double tap 0 to hide it. I'm gonna move the designer down and let's see what happens. I'm gonna press Shift E to switch over to prototype. And then I'm gonna just drag a little, I'll zoom in for that. Zoom in for effect. Drag it over. Make sure that instead of instant, we got smart animate, and instead of ease out, we've got gentle. So let's just see what that looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and hide this layer. Press Shift Space. Phew, look at that. Phew, easy. That's a viral video right there. That's like 1 million views. So, and then you can take it a step further, right? Maybe designer fades in, right? Or maybe it's like, this pops down, scale it down again, fade it out. Maybe there's text here that says, tech. that feels epically right, Tech. Then we just paste tech over there. Tech's gonna come get pushed out by the designer. So again, press Shift E. There's actually already an interaction, so I'm just gonna drag it to that new one. Now I'm gonna press Shift Space. Tech, designer, developer. Boom. That's pretty dope, right? I mean, like, I should try linearity. Linearity? Sorry. It's free and made for this type of animation. It's amazing. That's cool. Honestly, like, this whole thing is actually, back when I was getting into design, Sketch and InVision was the thing that I was using, or not in the beginning. Yo, shit, I'm missing some gifts. Luffy D's sending me some roses and some hearts. C Butch, you're sending me some hearts as well. Thank you so much for that. Much love, much love. Honestly, like, what do you want me to do? You want me to dance a little bit? Because I'm not too proud to beg. But okay, I'm done. I was gonna keep going on that joke, but we don't need to see that to the end. We don't need to see that to the end. But anyways, this is actually exactly how I make my content. No shit, I was talking about Sketch. Sketch and InVision was like, you instead of Figma, you had to design in Sketch, and then you had to you had to publish it to InVision, and then only then could your client see the stuff collaboratively in a prototype. Now, what was cool though was I also got into Principle, which was another animation tool that was integrated into, or not in Slack, but it was like a plugin where you could publish stuff as well. And it was really dope because it animated a lot like Smart Animate does. It was actually much more like in depth. You could like really be granular with all the animations and stuff. Sketch isn't, or Figma isn't made for that, so like it's not on them to do that. But maybe Linearity Move. I can't say that fucking name. Linearity. Sorry, I just had to type it out to know. Linearity Move. Boom. Okay, I'm done. This is what font family is this? This is obviously. It's obviously. Okay. This is actually my brand font that I use for my content as well. It's just a really dope font because the variable one, look at that. Oi, butter. I think like, somebody asked yesterday, how do I avoid being a perfectionist as a designer? And I said that find ways to scratch your OCD itch in the process rather than the end result thing. And this is a perfect example. Every time I go change anything in my around like and I want like some effect like this, right? I just sit here and just like fiddle with the variable grabs because it's just it's just so good. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. You know what's funny? Somebody just said Dickie's just said the brought up Comic Sans. I actually used to use Comic Sans a lot in my content. Not on this file. Did I use it? I still use it sometimes. I've since switched to Figma hand drawn font. But honestly, to be honest with you, I used it purely out of let somebody say something. Let somebody say something about my design. Like, and it was funny. Nobody talks shit about my use of Comic Sans, which is just a sign that if you like Comic Sans was never used properly. That's why it was a bad thing, right? But I never got shit, and I used it for almost every single video for like 2 months. And those videos were some of my best videos I've ever made. And so anyways, Comic Sans, I'll tell you, it's a fun font to use purely because of the baggage that it has. So I'll leave it there. Okay, cool. So we just went through a smart animate tutorial. We basically designed this, super killer animation. But essentially, by the way, if you're just joining or you missed that tutorial, you could always watch it again over on my YouTube because I'm streaming over there as well. I'm also about to dive into this bad boy, the portfolio review section or segment. There you go, segment. Sorry, I struggled with that for a sec. We need songs. Oh yeah, we do need some songs, huh? Over on Instagram, Yo told me, or Yoji, sorry, said we need some songs, and yeah. To be honest with you, I am too nervous about streaming songs because I'm still early to streaming. So I don't know what you guys are going to hear versus me, and I don't want to just be sitting here bumping to something and you don't hear it. Or worse even, if the song covers my voice, you're here to listen to me. You're not here to listen to music. Sorry, I'm just vibing in my feels of being a goofball today. Yeah. Oh man, I'm a new designer. I'm not sure who my boss is and don't want to ask. PM or senior designer. Okay, hey, let's chat for a second. Before we just jump right into the world of portfolio reviews. Let's do a little AMA session. AMA. If you got any questions, let me know. We're gonna be switching over these titles. Hell yeah. Okay, cool. So over on TikTok, Adventure Now. I'm a new designer. I'm not sure who my boss is and don't want to ask. Is it PM or senior designer? I think you should probably ask. You should definitely ask to know because so here's the thing though. Like a little tactic that I use whenever I'm working in a product team is like people love it. People love it when you drive their shit. Like, right? Don't push your juice onto somebody else and just find out what every single person wants and is annoyed about and then push the hell out of that so they love working with you, right? And so I think that with that in mind, you don't really need to know who your boss is. You'll find out eventually. Hopefully you will. But I think that would be my big suggestion is like find out what your senior designer needs, find out what your product manager needs, and do everything you can to do both of those things. But if they are banging against each other, like you gotta have some real chats. You gotta know because somebody somewhere is going to say, "Yo, Adventure Now is not stepping up," because if there's clashing problems or if there's clashing initiatives, right? And honestly, I talk a lot of shit about user personas, and I'm about to talk shit about user personas again because, in my opinion, that's the only time that user personas are actually valuable to the product team, right? Because essentially what you're doing is you're able to lay it all out there and basically get a deck of cards in your hands that you could be like, look at this, this is why we're doing this, right? And that's the only reason we got personas, because if you can methodically and under the radar say, hey, is this who we're designing for? Is this who we're designing for? Are these the problems that that person is going to be having? Do you agree? Do you agree? Do you agree? Well, then why are we doing this? Right? Like, boom. Yeah, that's the way. That's the way that you do some cross collaboration jujitsu right there. And it all starts with the user persona, right? But also too, like, I think user personas beyond that are kind of like a bit of a wash, because everybody, you know, you join any team and everybody talks enough about the problems that we're having and like the current customers that are coming up and all of that, that you should, like, everybody kind of knows without putting a name to it, right? Like Larry the, you know, laggard or whatever. Like, we don't need that in our world, right? But it is really good to, you know, prototype them in order, like, in an exercise are only around the idea that this is why we're doing what we're doing, right? But you can't, just say that, right? You got to first get buy-in and agreement on that person, on the problems that they're having, and the potential solutions that could come from that, and then you hit them over the head with a this is why we're doing this. Get in line, right? Okay, so I'll get off my new high horse. I'm just on a lot of high horses today. I'm rolling in, and I'm like, I need this. I need your validation. Does anybody use personas anymore? I don't know. I see them in a lot of portfolios, and that's a great segue into, we're talking portfolios today. Well, let's go into, I hope David's here. I haven't seen him in chat. He's usually chilling in chat. So that's a bummer if he's not here, but he'll be able to check the YouTube stream out. Yeah, so anyways, I'm going to be doing a, hold on, sorry, dropping the title, showing the portfolio title. Cool. Look at this, guys. I'm doing all the things. Okay. So today we're going to be doing a portfolio review of David Rivas. Yeah, basically, if you want a portfolio review from me live on air, you got to go to my portfolio or my bio link, and in there is some buttons to go fill out a form. Yeah, I've got a list already, a pretty solid list going. So yeah, let's go. All right, David, let's do this. Yeah. Okay, so first off, I just want to call out, I'm pretty sure I've reviewed your portfolio before when you applied. And so I'm going to look at it from that lens. And yeah, I think that, like, you know what? I got to be honest with you. Yes, I'm remembering. You were on a short list for me, dude. You were on a short list for me, David. So because, yeah, so essentially this is what happened. So I've done now 2 rounds of hiring through my TikTok. TikTok and Instagram. I basically posted about it and I said, hey, go apply because I'm hiring for a product designer. And then recently I'm hiring for a product designer for my agency. Yeah. And so in that, both times I got like over 400 portfolios, or sorry, it was like 300 portfolios for the first round, and then 400 portfolios for the second round. And I kind of just like shut it down at that point. Anyways, I reviewed all of them. And then I basically took that into a short list of like basically 40 people or total of both of them. It made it to a short list. And then in those, I did 5 interviews on both rounds. So that's kind of how I broke it down. And then both times I ended up hiring one person. So, actually both times I hired 2. I had one that didn't work out and then hired a second. Yeah, so that's kind of how it went. But so David, I just want to say, and I'm not just saying this because I'm like reviewing your portfolio live now, you did make it to my short list. And so I'd love to talk about why that's the case. And so, yeah, no small talk. Let's get to the good stuff. That's like the perfect line for me to say, enough of the small talk, let's get into the good stuff of the portfolio review. So cool. The possibilities with over 13 years of experience in the following: UX design, visual design, brand development. That's awesome. I love like just the fact that all 3 of these are a little bit connected. On yesterday's portfolio review, they felt really disjointed. This one feels a lot more cohesive and together. I also love the simplicity of all of this stuff so far, right? You're giving me context about the project. You're giving me the role that you did and the type of thing that you did. And this is really important for me too, because for me, I'm sitting here as a person reviewing portfolios, I told you just now, I basically reviewed like 600 portfolios, and some of them were just like filtered out because they were like drive links or something like that. So there was actually like 700 people who hit me up, or who applied back then. And I'll tell you, a lot of people do not do this when I'm reviewing portfolios. They just kind of throw this image up, which is okay. But I'm coming in and I'm looking for really quick, relevant work, right? I'm looking for UX research, UX design, UI design. If it's just a branding project, I'm not going to go look at it. And so I love the fact that you showed that. And cool, and it's also cool here too that you did like it basically took it from 0 to 1 on this So Lucky. So I might even go check that one out first. However, I'm remembering now why you made it to the shortlist, and it was because of this project. And so, I explained it yesterday. I'm gonna explain it again today. Is that basically when you are a hiring manager, you're coming in and saying, I'm trying to envision you in my role, right? And so I'm saying, this is the type of work I'm going to throw at this person, right? It's going to be admin panel shit. It's going to be management of data and inputting data entry stuff. It's going to be pulling in information and data from third-party sources, right? And so all of that was what I went into it, going into it. And so every time that I only saw like 2 e-commerce projects on a person's portfolio, it was a little bit of a negative point, right? And so pretty much any time that I saw a table or like a CRM panel or a doctor, like really a good one to do, if you don't have a case study around this, make a fake one around medical management, right? Like you've got to input a lot of data. You've got to keep like a lot of data. That it's also sensitive data, and you need that data to be validated, right? So, so did you input this correctly? We need to know that on this medical like admin panel, right? So there was actually one person who was like, yo, it was a medical admin panel, very well designed, and I really liked it, and they got an interview because of that. Like simply because it was such a perfect fit, and like the thoughts that you have to go about doing when you're designing that type of work is like, it's a lot, right? And so all that to say, love that you've got a table panel kind of vibe one there. It's the first one. I would suggest moving that one down to the bottom because inherently they're not going to be as cool looking as whatever So Lucky is and whatever RD Pro is, right? Like this is some punchy stuff. It's funner to look at and a little bit more engaging. And so I would say, even though all of that context that I just gave you around, I love the fact that you have this project, I would also say leave it for the bottom because it's one of those things where it's like, nice, they've got the UX shit, but I also want to, on my way to getting to they've got the UX stuff locked up, I'd love to see that you've got some visual design locked up as well. Now, most people will still scroll all the way to the bottom, right? Like, it's not that bad, but just, again, all those things to like keep ticking those boxes for people to keep them like wanting to learn more about you. I think that's very important. So, okay, I'm talking a lot. So I'm coming in here. And so with that in mind, I know I'm going to go look at this project, but I might go look at this one first just because you did all of it. You did the branding, the research, the design, and the UI. So I'd love to see like your process for going from a 0 to 1 kind of design. Love this too. Love the UI on this. I think the layouts are really good. I would really suggest putting that here, right? I think splash screens are not enough to get you to jump into a project on a case study level, right? As a hiring manager, I'm going to look at one minimum. I'm definitely going to look at one. Now that one is going to make me decide whether I want to go look at a second or not, right? And so I've already got I'm pretty sure I'm going to go look at 2 already. Just knowing this thing is here. But then how do I pick between RD Pro and So Lucky? If I'm a Web3 project, definitely going to check this out because it's like, it feels very honed in on Web3, which is great. Cool. Yeah. I didn't have to read this and it is. So awesome work on this shot. Now this one though, like I think the image in the background kind of got lost for me. Like I was like really like blurry eyed looking at it in terms of like, I'm not zooming in to look at what that image is in the background. And because of that, I didn't even realize that it was a shoe thing until I got in here and saw the shoes. So I would really suggest showing some UI here rather than showing this image right there. So anyways, boom, that's it. Let's keep going. Okay. Yo, is that caramel? Caramel? Yo, how's it going? Been a hot minute. Glad to see Red Cloud's back up and running. Oh yeah, John. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How you doing, bro? Good to see you. this, by the way, for those of you who have been around for a minute, Caramel's been around for longer probably because he was the one who actually set up my Discord. So wild, wild. Cool. Okay. So going into the actual case study of Soul Lucky. Again, this is pretty solid. I love the variance of shots that you're showing here too. I think that like the fact that I can see a splash screen, which shows me some like, hey, this person's got a visual eye. Great, right? The fact that I can see a dashboard too. I'm a big sucker for card sliders, and you can get them wrong when the card sliders have a background image. And I think that the placement on that text that you've got right here is really good too. I know you probably can't see it too well, but because it's really zoomed out. But here we go. A little facelift to the brand. Okay, nice. I love to see that. Okay. So if it's a facelift, I'd love to see the old version here. I think it would add more vibes to it. I love the minimalism here, and I think like you can't go wrong with a brand like this, right? It is lacking a little bit of like juice though, right? Outside of this image, these three are pretty pretty reserved in terms of design, and therefore I don't know if it's worth showing as the first real call out section. And you may have started there, but I don't need to see that first as a hiring manager, right? Again, unless you're going to like an agency that needs like that generalist approach. But then also too, I would say if they're looking for somebody who can do branding, they would probably need to see more than this around the branding, like the problem, how you came to this, and you don't need to go too in the weeds on it, right? Just give me like 2 sections of it worth of stuff there. So there you go. The research, okay, competitive audit, cool. Dove into, yep. I don't know about GOAT, but yeah, that makes sense seeing those. Love the visualizations that you've got going here. Here we go. User personas. We made it. We made it. There's like a bingo card to this. And again, like to that point, you might need to show it to be able to say, hey, I'm thinking about personas. But oh shit, sorry for the bang if you heard that bang. But it like in my opinion, I don't think you need 2, right? Give me 1. If you need to put it, just do 1 because like. Okay, yeah, they're in high school, bachelor's degree, married, 1 child, single, but has 1 child. I don't know, like I just don't need. I don't know if I need that stuff. Um, Goal. This is the stuff you need, right? And so I would say like blending Ryan and Carlos into one would allow you to set like to give more goals, and to make the goals visualization better and the frustrations visualization better. Because I tell you, I've seen some I've seen some portfolios that do really, really well on that. There's like a whole section where they talk about the goals and frustration and how they did research to find that they visualized the actual goals instead of like 3 bullets. They visualized each one individually. And so I think those are nice things. That's what you want to like understand about the user personas, right? Like I don't care about this stuff. I don't care about this stuff. I don't care to see Ryan as visualized or Carlos visualized. And also too, like the fact that their ages are so wide varying, I'm a little nervous about like if I am going in the weeds, it's a negative, right? so I would say find a way to visualize this part, and cut everything else. So there you go. Think what's best for you. Cool. Nice to see some sketching. I am not a sketcher. Do I only stream on IG? No, right now I am streaming on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So check me out there. If you missed anything, you can always go check my YouTube because the YouTube has that thing where you can like see the replays and stuff. So yeah, yep. I just realized I'm not monitoring YouTube for viewers or chat. So if you're chatting in YouTube, I apologize. Oh, there is a few chats. Shoot. Sorry, YouTube. sorry, YouTube. Anyway, let's keep going. Digital wireframes, cool. I love to see those too. Also too, I like the the fidelity you show here too. For me, I usually go like a little bit edged higher in terms of fidelity on my wires, but I think this level is good. I think like I've seen a few where they're like almost like this, but just like in a digital form, and I'm kind of like, what's the point of that? Right? Show me this. So solid work, David. You're crushing it, David. You're crushing it, David. Yeah, this is cool too. I always love to see a spaghetti map. And the other thing too is this sort of thing. It helps show that like if prototyping is a part of my product team presentations, hell yeah, right? Like, and it is. When I was on a product team, I knew that my team often would be they would like it better and give me more better feedback when I had a prototype so that they could see where it started and where it went through, right? And so yeah, so seeing this helps a lot too because it makes me say I can trust them on a prototype if I need to send that to a client or show that on my product team meeting. So great. Usability findings. You know what's funny? I've been skipping most of the text, which is funny because the last few portfolio reviews I've done, I've pretty much only looked at the text, and I gotta say that means that you're crushing it, David, because that's what you want, right? This is all about information architecture and scannability. Now I've got a course on that, and it's 25% off. So there you go, second time today. But anyways, what I talk about in that course a lot is the value of scannability, right? Scannability means you've got like, I'm looking for something as a user, and currently I'm a user of your website, and I'm thinking about hiring you. And so with that in mind, I'm looking through and I'm looking for the type of thing that I want to dive deep on, right? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, cool. Like this was a good breakout. The fact that you broke it out like this, it also helps me to say, wait, shit, yeah, I haven't been reading much, right? And so, and so then I'm going to be more intentional about that. And I'm going to look at these mockups and then I'm going to read that because that's what I'm looking for, right? When I'm looking at portfolios, this is my process. I go through, I look at the first section or two, I go to the bottom, I look at the mockups, and then and then if the mockups are good enough, I go look at the strategy, right? That's generally what I do. I'm not saying every hiring manager does that, but anyways, like you've allowed me to skip around. You've given me the payoff at the bottom, and it's a good payoff. This is solid UI, and so now I'm going to go learn about the strategy behind it. And so like honestly, this is a great case study, David. And I think you got it in the weeds enough, but also didn't get overboard with it. And when you did, like this one, quantitative surveys, those can be very boring, and you could show them in a very boring way. Like I'm always talking about when people are zigging, you want to zag, and a lot of people on these quantitative surveys are showing little sticky notes, right? That's okay. That's not a bad thing. It's better than just a list of text. So we'll go there. But seeing these as like little speech bubbles, I love it. I love that. So yeah, I mean, I got nothing to say bad about it. Seeing this going forward is like what I learned and the impact. Like, killing it, David. This is why you made it to my short list when I was hiring. And so yeah, over on TikTok, bro is streaming from a bento box. Yeah, I am. You know what's funny is I recently did a bento box tutorial, so it just like it fits. Even Bros Live has a good UI. That's right, Soldier. That's right. Can I see yours? Yeah, I can definitely look at your portfolio. However, just heads up, I do one live portfolio review every day on this live show. If you want me to review your stuff, go to YouTube, go to my bio link, and in there I've got a little form that you can fill out. And yeah, that's it. And then if you ever miss one, you could always go back on YouTube and watch. That was why the word YouTube just kind of like flipped into there. Yeah, just gotta say, over on Instagram, how y'all doing over there? A little quiet. I saw somebody ask how I am. I'm doing great. How about you? Doing really, really well. What time of the day? I'm still kind of moving it around, Squidward. Yesterday I went live right at noon Eastern time. that felt a little too early. Right now, the vibes today are going better, but maybe I'm just doing better at my live. I don't know. But I did start an hour later, so I'm thinking 1 p.m. Eastern time is when I'm going to do it, or 13 for all you weirdos who use 24-hour timer. No judgment there, but just like it's weird. It's weird. Okay. So now I promise that if I love this, which I do, I'm gonna go check out the other one, which I know is gonna have less UI. But now, oh shit, you sent me. I think you sent me in DM the password, and I don't have it right now. Let me go look it up. Let's put on some music. Yeah, there it is. Energy. Wait, I can't see. There we go. So, David, I just want to let you know that this is gonna be live. So, I don't know if I should show this, right? No, wait, yeah. So David sent me the password for that project. But then like I'm streaming it right now. Like it's accessible. Like so PCI Energy can see that you're talking about it, dude. So I'm not gonna go into that one. I'm not gonna go into that one. But this is a problem, or this is one of the problems that I have with portfolios that require a password. Like, wait, again, when I'm browsing on portfolios, right? Every person who is reviewing a portfolio with the intention to hire is most likely looking at yours amongst at least 50 other portfolios in one sitting, right? You're like one of 50. And so like when I see stuff like that where there's a password protected one, even if you put it in the resume or the image or the cover letter or whatever, if I'm like, I probably would at this point, to be honest with you. If like the way that I liked So Lucky, I probably would have been like, okay, it's worth going to see if David sent me the password to this project somewhere, right? But if you don't have your hiring stuff set up properly, like which I don't, I just set up an Airtable form and like winged the hell out of it. But I'm sure some of them have ways to just like really quickly click the link with the password involved or something like that. But it's just one of those things where I don't know if it's worth putting putting like password protected case studies up at all. Like because if okay, here's what I'll do. Here's what I'll say is like, especially because it was the first one, right? If I didn't click on So Lucky first and I had clicked on PCI first, I would have been like, damn, like is every project going to be password protected? It's the first one, like so like that's another tip in the cap to move this one down to the bottom. A, but B is I think like save this project for your interview, right? Every interview, the people are walking in now. I've done now. So of the past 2 rounds of hiring, I did 10 interviews, and all but one person had a presentation deck for me, and it was basically like a case study broken out in a slide deck, just like this. It was like shot by shot though, right? It was like this section was a slide, this section was a slide, right? And they kind of went through the whole process. And so like let's just assume that you've got one of those, right? One of those decks. It should be the PCI Energy solutions, right? And so you should lead with this stuff. Maybe throw this up here still, again, like because it's nice and it helps ground you in that industry. But if you've got mostly password protected stuff, find a way to either make fake projects that look similar, or just leave it off, because unless it's your only project, I guess. But then also too, the same way, like, are you ready to apply then, right? David, I will say you are definitely ready to apply. I would say like you could apply with this portfolio, and if you do it enough, I think you'd find a job, because this is all solid stuff all around. And I think you can get by with even just 2 public projects. Oh, this one's password protected too. Damn, that's a bummer, dude. That's a bummer. You see, like, and I get it. You've got 3 projects. Only one of them is available for public viewing. And like, just make a second fake project then, I think you've got to do that because like that's a bit of a that's a bit of a yeah. Sorry, I'm just like thinking of the best way to put this is like it's a liability, right? You were doing so well on So Lucky to the point where I was like, I'm so excited to go look at a second case study, and then I couldn't look at the second case studies, right? And I like, man, like you don't have like again, not trying to say go make a bunch of fake projects, everybody, but if you're lacking work and you've got skills like this, don't let them go wasted on only having one project that's available to view, right? Like find a way to make a second fake project and leverage that into that like last check of the box. Yep, they can do it on multiple occasions and it's worthy of an interview because of that. And what? Sorry, TikTok is trying to kick me off. Hold on. Sorry. Cool. Cool. That's it. Anyways, you guys get what I'm trying to say. You guys get what I'm trying to say. Doom. Okay. Here we go. Let's hang over on a live AMA now. That was a really good portfolio review. You know, like not only from like my like I felt like I got a lot of juice that I could share with people, but also too like David, I think you're really solid as a designer, and I think you should keep going. And I think you should find ways to build that second project. Because yeah, over on TikTok, somebody just said, sorry, I can't read your name very well, but it's not exactly user friendly for the hiring manager. Amen, amen. And now that's not a thing where I'm like, they don't know UX, right? Like I'm not gonna do that as a hiring manager, but it is one of those things where it's like, oh man, like this guy was crushing it. Like I'm really hopeful for that second project, and it's like such a letdown that I couldn't see the other ones. No, like just heads up, I'll probably go look at that other one offline, so that way it's not messing up any of your NDA stuff. But yeah. All right. Do hiring managers ask for presentation decks? Some of them do. I will say Starlight. I didn't. Last time I got hired, I didn't have a presentation deck. I kind of just walked through my portfolio, and I did get. I got 4 second round interviews. I've got 2 offers, and a third one. I was going to go into a third round interview, and I turned it down because I had already accepted one of the other 2 offers. So like you can get a job without a deck, but I would say it's probably harder to do because honestly, and here's the thing: is I hadn't tried to get a job in like over 6 years at that point. I was at a product team, and then I left and I did my own thing for like 2 or 3 years. So it was a while, and the industry had changed. And so it was funny because when I first started hiring back in August, everybody came in with a deck, and I was like, the first one came in, and I was like, yo, that was pretty nice. They really like hooked it up for me. I got a lot out of it. And then the next one came, and then again they had a deck too, and I was like, oh, okay, this must be like a thing. And then another one came in, and it was a deck as well. And so, and then by the time I got to the 4th, who didn't have a deck, I was like, oh, okay, not a bad thing, but okay. So it was just one of those like funny things that like I learned about it through hiring, about how valuable it is. And so I would say that you don't need a deck when you're walking into an interview, but it's one of those things that really helps you as the interviewer or interviewee. It helps you be in the driver's seat, right? Basically, anytime that somebody has a deck, you're pretty much talking almost the whole time, right? And I'm asking clarifying questions every once in a while, but you can really get going. And you can get excited about the stuff you're doing, and you can show that off much better than just let me know what projects you want me to look at, or want me to show, right? Which like, and I used to do that, and I don't think I missed out on opportunities yet. But that's also because I've got 13 years of work under my belt, right? And so I think any like new coming designer pre-career, you should definitely try to have a pitch deck about yourself, which basically goes really deep dive into a case study.
It should start with a few slides about yourself, and it should cover the thesis that you're trying to say. Now, that thesis is essentially the I'm a designer who thinks like this, right? So I'm a designer who thinks like a business owner because I've done this before, and that affects my approach around cross team collaboration. It makes it where I love to work with developers, and it makes it where I understand why I even have a job as a designer is because the business needs to run, and I'm going to make decisions off of that to be able to help you as a business owner hire me, right? And so you've got your own bit, right? Well, even if you haven't had a career yet, you've got your own bit. You've got your own personal like outlook on the world, and there's a reason that and that basically translates into a process that you go about designing with, right? Yesterday somebody talked about how can I use my 3 years of marketing industry experience to become a designer. Well, you can use all of the processes that you've built, like the way that you look at data, the way that you set up your tests, and the way that you use that to be able to leverage the next step and create strategy ongoing. Like all of that stuff is exactly what we do as designers. We just don't do it in marketing. We do it for design and user experience. And so I think like those are the things that you need to show on that first slide is what is your outlook on the world, right? And try to be as unique as you can with that. Um, you know, I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of people say that they used to be an architecture student or architecture or actual person in the architecture industry. And actually, I gave an interview to one of the only people who I saw who actually was an architect, right? And so because he had to work with all these other teams, he had to do that cross-functional buy-in and stuff like that, which is all stuff that translates in any product team. And so again, you're trying to find ways to make me envision you in the role. And so, yeah. And you know what's funny, Shaylena, who just said I work in architecture and I'm trying to switch to UX, is I actually was an architecture student. And so like I get it. There's like this something about it that kind of fits still, right? And so I think like leverage that if you can, right? Talk about how much experience you have in there and the types not specifically like what buildings you built or designed or anything like that, but talk about specifically around how you've built a process for working with people, right? Like that's what needs to translate, and that's how I'm going to be able to envision you in the role. So yeah. Hey, we're vibing. Yo, sorry, David Reno, you're in Instagram. Hey, Noel, great stream in all platforms. Which one is better to interact? I noticed that you don't read comments on YouTube. Yeah, sorry, David. Yeah, I'm really getting better at this streaming thing. I'm still new to streaming. I just started Monday. I used to only just do it on my phone, right? So now I'm like formalized in my stuff here. And basically, yeah, I would say I keep a really close eye on TikTok. Instagram is tough. The way that the UI works is every time somebody joins, it floods the chat, right? TikTok has that, but it's down in the bottom and it doesn't interfere with chat. And so I miss comments all the time in Instagram because people come and go, and I'm missing that. So that's really frustrating. But so that's what makes it where I'm easy, or sorry, it's a lot easier to interact with people over on TikTok. Because yeah, I mean, Ryo just said, love that you're streaming. Like you just said that 2 seconds ago. I saw it right away. So Rami, how can you tell if someone is a senior or a mid? Well, that's pretty much exactly what I was just talking about a second ago around the cross-functional team collaboration and buy-in. That's really where you go from junior to senior, right? Is when you are like, it's one of those things that you just can't teach and you can't like read and learn about it, right? It's the things that you get through war stories and failed projects and shitty clients and horrible bosses. Like that's where you get that energy from. And that's also too why if you're changing careers from another industry, like talk about that specifically. Talk about all the times that you got out from under a horrible boss, or you were able to still get a project done even on tight deadlines because like something came up out of nowhere. Like those are the things that like make it where it's transferable experience, right? Because like all of this is interpersonal skills, right? Like, and I think that's what is a little bit frustrating about AI is a lot of AI is kind of taking the fun jobs out, right? The jobs where a lot of us in this chat are probably a little awkward in person, speaking to people, right? We might have a little bit of anxiety working with others, and that's why we like to just sit on our desk and crank out work, right? And AI is kind of taking some of that, and it kind of sucks, right? But also too, the more work that you do in any industry, the further you go in your career, you realize more and more that the work that really is valuable is where you're finishing stuff, you're actually like managing projects and you're getting them done, right? That's what's so much fun really about this work that we do as designers. The for me, like, and this is definitely my personal preference and viewpoint of the world, right? But I love my favorite part of design. It used to be cranking out the pixels, right? But and actually there was a moment where I was like, damn, I don't know if I want to be a designer because my future is really just managing other designers. It's not like designing anymore, right? And like so there was like a good few years where I was feeling that struggle. But now I've launched enough stuff and I've seen like I've got to see like people use the stuff that I've designed so much that that's really the value. That's the reward that we get as designers. And the way that you do that, the way that you become an effective designer is through being really good at relationships and basically like project management and stuff. And so that's why yeah, you've got to have the base skills. You've got to have a good visual eye, but if you can in any way show that you've dealt with adversity and you came out on top and the project or whatever that you were working on crushed it, like, use that. So, that was a solid, that was a solid rant. Yeah. Yeah. Should multiple case studies be made for a single project that has a lot of different UX principles? That's a cool question, Jenner. I've never actually seen that before, but I do think that could work. So basically, if you've done a lot of work for one client, can you do a deep dive case study in multiple projects within that? I think it'd be worth it, and I think that you could probably get away with just that project in your book. And if the case studies are well thought out enough, I think you might get an offer, right? Because it's one of those things where I've struggled with it too. It's like when you work on a product team for years, there's so many times, so many projects that came to life that you just can't talk about them all. You know what I mean? You got to kind of pick one or two. And so if you want to, instead of like just giving the bullet points of 2 or 3 projects, instead go really deep on a few of the projects within one company, I think that would let me see your thinking and let me see your skills in the way that I'm looking for as a hiring manager. So yeah. All right. Yo, okay. Hey, I was about to go down the line, but I just saw Maria on TikTok ask about my courses. So I'd be remiss if I didn't pause and talk about my courses. I've got 2 courses. I got a Figma course and I've got a UI course, UI strategy course. Now, in my opinion, UI leads to good UX, right? And you can't be good at UI without being a good and thoughtful strategist around the user experience. And so that's basically what my UI course is all about, is the strategy behind making good UI. And so anyways, I've got 2. They both are over 5 hours long and both are 25% off for the next week. So go buy them. Go buy it. All right. Am I missing anything? Oh, my auto layouts get crazy. Yes, for real though. The in my old product team that I just left from last year, I had these like this basically this panel that was like a lot of the work that we did was this like on-site editor. So it was like your website, and then you had this like panel to like add a bunch of elements to it. And yeah, that thing was so tight on auto layout, like you literally couldn't like move anything with your mouse. But it was like so perfect that anytime anything got added, it would just like all perfectly mesh together, So it was pretty funny. And my product manager, she used to be a designer, but before auto layout came out, and so we always like went around sometimes. I'm like, your auto layout is too much. So, but it's like it's back to my thing. It's like we all all of us designers are a little weird, right? And probably all of us got a little bit of OCD, which leads to perfectionism, right? And so, how can you channel that perfectionism and that OCD towards good? Well, hey, you know how you do it? You future-proof your design work by making really good plans for the future around using frames over groups and using auto layout as much as you can and all of that. And that's really what my Figma course is about as well. So it's more workflowy than a Figma course, really. So yeah. Thanks for the advice. Back on the case study going. Yeah, hell yeah, Jenner. Hopefully you'll be I'll be reviewing your portfolio live soon, you know, and I'll recognize it when I see two of the same thing. I Frankenstein a lot of my work. Yeah, love it, Joey. Love it. Which cursor did you pick? Oh, love that. Actually, yeah. Let's go do a little happy roundup day. It's a Friday, so let's go have some fun. I'm gonna go ahead and share this link. If you want to come, sorry, change the file around a little bit. If you want to come find me, and you happen to be on a computer, come to this link, and we'll all share our cursors with each other. Okay. So yeah, come on. Who's gonna be the first one? Yesterday we had like 15 people come in here. Yo, over on YouTube, enjoying the course on UI. Hell yeah, Enrique. Hello from Brazil. What's going on? How you doing? Hope you're having a great day. Yeah, mine's Paper Airplane today. This morning it was Dogehead. And then there was also, yeah, I've been using the kitty a lot too, because it's good. Somebody's in here. Come find me. Here, I'm gonna spotlight me. Come find me. You guys know about the spotlight feature in Figma? You can press your little avatar up top, and then you can create a spotlight, which basically allows everybody to follow you. How we doing? All right, we got some people in here. Hi, everybody. Hi. Love it. Yes. Oh, there's Enrique. What's up? I think I'm going 8-bit right now. What do you think about going from graphic design to UX UI? I think that there's a lot of value to it. Just know that there is a lot of designers who used to be graphic designers who are trying to get into UI UX as well. So like, I mean, kind of like anything, right? But just a heads up, that is one thing. Oh yeah, sorry, I left the website link, my bad. Oh, what's up, Solar? I saw you ask too if I'm trying to learn Blender still. I'd love to learn Blender, but I just don't have the time for it. So maybe one day. But good to see you, man. Good to see you. Glad you're still hanging and chilling out here. Okay, so back to going from graphic design to UI UX. Well, I think that there is a lot of upside to graphic designers who become UI UX designers. Why? Because it still takes as much of a strategy as we use in our everyday like workflows and stuff. There is still a huge need around having a good visual eye. It's one of those like X factor things that you know it when you see it, but and that's it, And so because of that, I struggle sometimes with like, am I just being a little bit subjective, right? When I see somebody who just doesn't have a good visual eye, and no, I don't think I am. Because why? Because I wasn't good at my visual eye either. I built it through grinding and doing a lot of work, right? And I think that you can get that through graphic design a lot. And the good thing about it too is if you're doing a lot of client work, if you're doing agency work in the world of graphic design, well, what's awesome is that you're going to end up getting into a really good skill set of relationship management, right? You like graphic design, you will probably have the worst clients over product design, right? Product design has a lot of hard clients, but graphic design is, if you're not really processed, then you're gonna have some really horrible projects that you just like hate by the end of it, right? And so I think that like those battle scars and those war stories that you learned through all of that is still translatable over on UI UX. And so I think you could definitely lean into that. So How do you do an interface like this in TikTok? What do you use? Yeah, I'm using the TikTok Live PC app, and it's awesome. It really is a nicely designed app. And yeah, basically what I have is I'm about to show you a little behind the scenes for a second. Oh, I gotta unlock it. Here we go. Ah! There's a little overlay here, you see, and that's how that's how I did it. You can see that over on Streamlabs. Let me do it on Instagram, TikTok. Um, Screen. No. No. Hold on. Here we go. There you go. Broke the fourth wall. Yeah. You use them. Yeah, exactly. I just like basically have overlaid images on top of me. It's like just like a PNG with a cutout. So yeah, that's how I've bento boxed myself in my live. Okay, here we go. So I've been streaming now for an hour and 20 minutes. I've been trying to keep these shorter and shorter, but hope you guys, yeah, I think that's it for me today. Hope you all have an awesome day. That was such a good roundup. Really great talk about maximalism. Let me zoom out. Let's get the show notes going again. Talked a lot about maximalism in the beginning. Did a nice little smart animate tutorial. Did David Revis's portfolio, really solid portfolio, dude. And then we did a little chill chat at the end. So if you want to watch any of that, if you missed any of that and you want to watch some of that, go check out YouTube. I streamed all of that here, all of that there, or here if you're over on YouTube right now. Yeah, hope you all have an awesome day. I'll see you on Monday. Great weekend. Yeah, have a good weekend.